Recording in progress.
Okay, we're up to the Gemara and Daf Tesvav Amid Beis. So the Gemara is going to be a contradiction. We've mentioned this machlokes in the past between Rabbi and the Rabbanon, and that is, we know that Karen is the first 3 times you pay Chatzi Nezek. But there's machlokes, what if the Karen takes place in the Rishus of the Nizek, meaning that your animal breaks in to the damagee's property and damages someone? So according to Rav Tarfon, Rav Tarfon, you're chayiv nezek shalom. The Rabbanon say no, it's chatzi nezek still the first 3 times. So there's a contradiction in the Mishnah. The Mishnah started off midiktani hashein muedes. The Mishnah started off by listing 5 tam and 5 mued, and it said, what's a mued? Shein, mued la'echol. Now, where is a shein mued la'echol? We know that a shein is only a chayiv if it's b'rshus hanizik, if it broke into the property of the damagee. So the Mishnah is obviously talking about that. Right? Because a shein is potter in Rishus Harabim, it's potter in a shared area, it's only chayiv in the Rishus HaNizik. So the Mishnah is talking about Rishus HaNizik. We'll keep going then. Uktani, and then the Mishnah said, shein is muid, ein muedis l'shalim kula, but Karen is chatzi nezik. So the Mishnah is saying, even Rishus HaNizik, if the animal gores, you only pay half, which is the shita of the Rabbanon. Mani Rabbanon he dam Mishuna Karen Mechatzer Nizek Chatzi Nezek with the Mishalim. So the Mishnah started off by following the Rabbanon because it said a shein is a muad. Now where is a shein a muad? Only Chatzer and Nizek, which means it's talking about Chatzer and Nizek. And then it said Karen is Chatzi Nezek. So you see that in the Shus Nizek you only pay half. But then what did the Mishnah then say? Shar, it listed the 5 muad, and one of them was Shar HaMuad. Okay, and then it said Shar HaMazik b'Shus HaNizik. Then it said attacking in the Shus HaNizik. Then it's always a muad, meaning even Karen. So the Mishnah started off by the Rabbanan, but this is clearly Rav Tarfon Shita, that b'Rishus HaNizik you pay Nezek Shalim. Reisha Rabbanan is safe for Rav Tarfon, so the Mishnah starts off with the Rabbanan, but then goes to Rav Tarfon, meaning, again, this is the damagee's property. The animal breaks in to, animal A breaks into animal B's property and attacks animal B with the horn. So Rav Tarfon says, Yichayiv Nezek Shalim, the Rabbanan say, no, Chatzi Nezek the first 3 times. The first part of the Mishnah implies like the Rabbanan, the second part implies like Rav Tarfon. So what's going on over here? In the answer is yes, the Mishnah switches opinions. The Amr le Shmuel or Rav Yehuda, as Rav Shmuel said to Rav Yishin, a sharp one. Shavaik masnisam v'tabas rai. Don't try to understand the Mishnah. This is the explanation. Reisha Rabbanan is safer Rav Tarfon. The first part of the Mishnah follows the Rabbanan, the Sefer follows Rav Tarfon. It's not the best option, but that's what how the Gemara understands it. Rav Elazar Mishri, the Rav Amar, no. Cooler Rav Tarfon. Really, the entire Mishnah is Rav Tarfon. That you're chayiv nezek shalim. In the first part of the Mishnah, it said that a shein is chayiv, which is chatzar nizik, and then it said, but you only pay chatzi nezek by the Karens. That implies not like Rav Tarfon. Reisha b'chatzar, so meaning in other words, Rav Tarfon holds that if you're in the private property of the damagee, you pay nezek shalim. But the Mishnah in the beginning implies not like that. So the answer is, the Mishnah in the beginning is a partnership. It's talking about a partnership. The case is where animal A and animal B's, the attack happens in a field. The field is owned by owner A and owner B. Owner A has permission to leave fruit there, whatever. And owner A only fruit. Owner A only has permission, owner B not. And then owner A and owner B both have permission to leave the animals there. So regarding shein, it's private property because only one person is allowed to have fruit there. So it's private property regarding fruit. But it's public property regarding Karen. Rav Tarfon Shita is that in private property, Karen pays Nezek Shalim. The beginning of the Mishnah, which is talking about private property, and it says you pay Chatzi Nezek. The answer is it's private and not private. It's private regarding some things because only one person has permission to leave fruit there. So regarding shein, which is eating fruit, it's private. But it's public property regarding the attack of the animal because they both have permission to leave the animals there. So okay. So that's the explanation of Rav Elazar. Rav Kahana, Amrita Lashmaita came to Rav Zvid. He said, I told this pshat in front of Rav Zvid. But Amarli, Mimatzas Mukal Lakul Rav Tarfon, you tell me the entire Mishnah follows Rav Tarfon, Hoktani. Hashem Muedes La'echel Es Haroy Leip. Think about it. The next part of the Mishnah says that, and I mentioned this in the past, that eating something is generally shein unless it's eating something that it's not normal to eat, in which case then it turns into Karen. Karen means abnormal. So if let's say the animal eats food, that's shein. But if the animal eats glass, which is not normal, then that's Karen. So the Mishnah said, The next Mishnah says, Hashen muedis la'echol saroyle. The shein is mued if it eats something that it's supposed to eat. Royle inshur and royle loy. But if it eats something that's not supposed to eat, which is keren, then it's chatzi nezek. Oh, vi Rav Tarfon. But if it's Rav Tarfon, I'm a meshuna keren mechatzer nezek nezek shalom mishalem. I thought according to Rav Tarfon, if the entire Mishnah is following Rav Tarfon, that we're talking about a private domain, and in a private domain you pay nezek shalom. So then why is it that Rav Tarfon holds that you pay? According to Rav Tarfon, hold on 1 second.
Recording in progress.
So the point is, the Gemara is saying that if it follows Rav Tarfon, that Keren b'chshus hanizik is chayiv nezek shalom, so why does the next part of the Mishnah say that if an animal eats something it's not supposed to eat, which is Keren, that you pay chatzi nezek? I thought you paid nezek shalom if it taka follows Rav Tarfon. So the Gemara says, okay. So the Gemara says, you're right. Lo'ilam Rabbanan. Really, it's the Rabbanan. So what does the Mishnah mean when it says that V'shor hamazik b'shus hanizik? This is how you're supposed to read the Mishnah, in a way that works with the Rabbanan, that Karen is always chatzi nezek. This is how you're supposed to read it. Chamisha tamim hein. There's 5 tamim. Vim huadu. But if it became a muad, Chamisha muadin. Then there's 5 muadin. V'shein v'regel muadin. Shein v'regel are always muad. B'tchilasan. V'eichan adasan b'chatzer nizik. And when it says shar hamazik, it means where are shein v'regel muad b'shus hanizik b'chatzer nizik. Okay. So that's, I guess, how you read the Bryce in a way that works according to the Rabbana. So the Gemara says, Maskif lo Ravina is a kasha. Ha katani l'Kamma. It says in the next Mishnah, Shar hamazik b'shus hanizik ketzad. Right? We said in our Mishnah the word Shar hamazik b'shus hanizik. But now you're telling me, according to the Rabbana, that doesn't mean Karen, because Karen is always chatzi nezik. What does it mean? It means shein v'regel. The next Mishnah says, it takes that line and says ketzad. What's the case? And then it describes the machlekes of Tarfon and the Rabbanan. So again, there's 2 ways to understand the words Shar hamazik b'shus hanizik. The pasha way to understand is that it's talking about Keren, and it follows of Tarfon. You're saying no. Really, it follows the Rabbanan. And Shar hamazik b'shus hanizik is talking about Shein and Regel. The problem is the next Mishnah says that same line, and then it says Ketzad, and then it proceeds to describe Keren. The Gemara says, now if you say the Mishnah is referring to Keren, and then it makes sense. So the Mishnah, in our Mishnah, it says that you're chayiv nezek shalom, and then it says Ketzad. Let's talk about this. But if you say the Mishnah is actually talking about shein v'regel, and it's not talking about Keren at all, so then So then if that's the case, then why does the next Mishnah just say Ketzad? Well, Ketzad. Introduce it a little bit. Okay, this is what you have to say. This is how you have to read the Mishnah. Chamisha tamin, there are 5 tamin. Vimhuadu chamisha and muadin. And if it becomes a muad, it becomes a muad, meaning if it does it 3 times, it becomes a muad. V'shein v'regel muadim etchilasan. And shein v'regel are always muad. V'zeu shar muad. And this, the 5 types, v'zeu shar muad. And if an animal does it 3 times, that's a muad. V'shar hamazik b'shus hanizik machlokes of Tarfon the Rabbanan. And then Ketzad. Okay. Then you continue the Mishnah. There are 5 that are always muad from the onset, and that's Hazei, Vari, Hadoi, Babardils, Vanemer, Vahanachosh. That's how you have to read the Mishnah. Tan Nami Hachi, the Brisa similarly states, Chamisha Taminheim, there are 5 Tamin, Vimhuadu, Chamish, and Muadan, and if they do it 3 times, they become a muad. V'shein v'regel muadim etchilas, and shein v'regel are muad from the beginning. V'zeu shar muad, now this is an example that we said that the first 3 times is Keren is Tam and then a Muad. V'shar hamazik v'shus hanizik machlokes of Tarfon v'Rabbanan. You should know it's a machlokes of Tarfon the Rabbanan. V'yesh muadan achim ki yitzvan. And there are other types of animals that are always a Muad because they're always dangerous. And that's a Zev Ari V'Adoi V'Nemer V'Bardils V'Nachash. Okay. Now, so we're saying right now the way we're reading the Mishnah is that it starts off that an ox is tam for the first 2 times than a muad, but there's certain animals that are very wild that are muad from the beginning. That's zeiv, ari, atayv, and nemer bardelis. So the Gemara says, Ika de Rami la Mirma. Some, instead of just clarifying this, they ask a question and they answer it. They say like this: Tanan chamisha tam v'chamisha wad, and it says there's 5 tam and 5 muad. There's only 5 muad. B'suleka Ika hazev ari adayv nemer bardelis v'anachash. What about those animals that are muad from the beginning? Umeshani, and the answer is Amravina chasurim esvachitan. This is supposed to read the Mishnah. Chamishin tam and hein v'muadin chamishim muadin. There are 5 different categories of an ox that start off as a tav and then turn into a muad. B'shein v'reg muadim v'chilasan. V'shar mazik, v'shas anizik, machlokes tav v'rabbanan. V'yesh muadim acherim. And now you say, there's another category of animals that are muad from the beginning, and that's referring to azay v'ari hanemer bardelis v'hanachash.
Recording in progress.
The Gemara continues. V'loy lirvoitz. Then the Mishnah said that squatting is not normal for an animal to squat on something and destroy it. Therefore, that's considered a keren. Amr of Elazar, again, if it's not normal, it's keren. If it's normal and it's pleasurable, then it becomes shein. And if it's normal and not pleasurable, that's regel. But if it's not normal, that's keren. So it says that we say that sitting is not normal. Amr of Elazar, loishon al pachim gedolim. It's only not normal to sit on large jugs of pachim ketanim, but sitting on small jugs, urchihu, that's normal, and therefore it would be considered regel. I have a proof to this. Right now we're saying that if an animal sits on things, if it's big, it's keren, and you pay chatzi nezek. If it's small, then it's a muad mitchilasan, and you pay nezek shalim. I have a proof to this. Why? Because the Brisa says, an animal it's normal for an animal to walk and to break stuff because it's regel. And to destroy kalim. Destroying kalim, that kind of sounds like he's sitting on it. So our Mishnah said sitting is keren, but this says sitting is regel. What's the explanation? It must be big ones is keren, not normal. Small ones is regel. So the Gemara says no. Dilma min atzad. Maybe when it says destroying kalim, it doesn't mean sitting on it because that's always not normal. It means crushing it while walking past it on the side, crushing it on the side. Okay. Some have a different version. According to this version, even small jugs is not normal and it's always keren. Either Brisa says that crushing kalim is regel. The answer is when it says that it's regel, that's from the side. But sitting on it is always keren. Tanan, some instead of speaking it out have a question. Okay, different version of the Gemara. Hazev Ari, my bardelis. What's a bardelis? Rav Yehuda nafriza. It's a nafriza. My nafriza. Rav Yosef appa. It's an appa animal. Some sort of weasel-like animal. Meis have a kasha. You're telling me that a bardelis is an appa. Rav Meir Oimer Afat Savua. Rav Meir adds to the list, in addition to bardelis, a tzavua. And Rav Elazar Afa Nachash. But Rav Yosef, what's tzavua zu appa? So how could appa be a tzavua and a bardelis? The answer is like kasha. Kamma tzavua zachar, kamma tzavua nekeva. A male tzavua is a male tzavua. Both all tzavuas are appas, but a female tzavua is also a bardelis. It's a different word for it.
Recording in progress.
The Gemara continues. Titania tzavua zachar lacha shevashanim nasa atlif. A male tzavua after 7 years. Yeah, after 7 years, a male tzavua becomes an atlif, a bat. I don't know what this means. Atlif lacha shevashanim nasa arpad. After 7 years, a bat becomes an arpad. Different type of species. Arpad lacha shevashanim nasa kimush. After 7 years, that becomes a kimush, a nettle. Kimush lacha shevashanim nasa choich. After that, it becomes a thorn, and eventually becomes a demon. I don't know, whatever that means. The Gemara continues. A male spine, after 7 years, can turn into a snake. I think it just means that you could be like, once you become older, you could be like snake-like and dishonest. But that's only true if you don't bow by moedim. If you bow by moedim, if you have that level of humility, your spine will never become like a snake. Amar Mar, Meir Oimer, go to the next page. Afat Savua, A tzavua is also a mu'id. It's an animal that's always wild. It can't be domesticated. Rav Elazar emaf anachash. Rav Elazar says also a nachash. So here's the problem. According to Rav Elazar, it's a tzavua and a nachash are both impossible to become domesticated. But what did Rav Elazar say in our Mishnah? Rav Elazar said in the Mishnah, the only one that's impossible to be domesticated is a nachash. But in the Brisa, he said nachash and savua. So which one is it? Is it just a nachash, or is it also a nachash and a savua? The answer is tani nachash. So when the Brisa says af nachash, take out the word af. Rav Elazar is not adding nachash to tzavua. He's saying just a nachash. Amr Shmuel, ari b'rishas harabim. If a lion is in rishas harabim, daras v'achal potter. Again, if it's normal, it's shein. Shein is potter in rishas harabim. So if a lion pounces, you own a lion, it pounces on an animal and eats it while the animal's alive. Mamish eats it alive. That is normal. Therefore, that's shein, and shein is potter in rishas harabim. But taraf v'achal, if it tears the animal apart, then eats it, that's chayiv, because that's keren. That's not normal. That's keren. That's chayiv in rishas harabim. So killing and eating right away, that's normal. That's shein. But ripping apart then eating, abnormal keren. Daras v'achal potter kiven the urchel midras havelei k'may shachal peres v'yirak establishing rishas harabim potter taraf, but tearing it apart and then eating it lav urchel is not normal. So right now we're saying tearing it apart and not eating it is not normal. Therefore, it's keren, as opposed to taraf, which a daras is normal, taraf is not normal. The problem is, you're telling me that tearing it apart is not normal, but we find in Psukim that it describes that's the way lions act, and the Gemara is going to constantly say that that's always doing it for saving for later. That's normal, or to feed your lion cubs, then it's normal. But for himself, tearing it apart then eating it is abnormal. You're telling me that it's not normal for a lion to tear apart an animal? So the pasuk describes the lion tearing apart its cubs, its prey. The answer is bishvil goraisav, not for itself. That's to feed its cubs. For itself, it would not do that. Abnormal. Keren. Umechanik levaisa. The pasuk says it chokes its prey for its lioness. You see that it is normal. The answer is bishvil goraisav. No. It means it's going to choke its prey so that its lioness can eat later, but it's not normal for it to do it itself. V'imali terav chayrav, the pasuk says it fills its caves with prey, with torn up prey. The answer is b'shul chayrav, again, that's to save for later. Umayna terav, b'shul mainaisav, again, for its layer. So the point is, tearing apart, eating it alive, normal, shein. Tearing it apart, not normal, keren. V'tanya, the Brisa says, the Brisa is talking about shein, and it says if a wild beast, including a lion, enters the chatzar nizik, trafa behema v'achla basar, and tore an animal apart and ate the meat, mishalim nezik shalim, because it's shein. So you see, this is trafa, rips it apart, and it's shein. So you told me trafa is not normal. Over here it says it's normal. So the answer is hacham ha'eskina shatar falaniach. The answer is the case that it's normal is where it tore apart to save for later. Meaning, if the animal tore it apart and ate it, not normal. The case that it's normal and shein is where it tore apart to save. The Gemara says, it says it tore apart and ate it. So what do you mean it tore apart to save? It says it tore apart to eat it. No. It tore apart to save, that's normal. Then it changed its mind and it's ate it. How do you, the Gemara says, how do you know if an animal's changing its mind? They don't tell you what they're thinking. So the Gemara says, and also, when Shmuel says that it's if an animal tears apart, it's abnormal and it's keren. How do you know that it's tearing apart abnormal? Maybe it's tearing apart to save for later, then change his mind. So the Gemara says, Amar Nachem Bar Yitzchak Tzad, and this you have to read the Brisa. Shatar falaniach, if a lion tore apart an animal to store it but didn't eat it, didn't change his mind, it stored it, or it pounced and ate it, then it's considered shein and it's nezek shalim. Ravina Amar, another answer, Kamma Shmuel, when Shmuel said, again, we've been dealing with this issue that Shmuel said that tearing apart is abnormal, but the Brisa says it's normal. So the answer is, when Shmuel said that it's abnormal and it's chayiv for keren, it's ba'arbi tarbus, it's a domesticated lion, meaning tearing apart is completely normal. Over here it says abnormal, and that's why you're chayiv in rishas harabim. It's talking about domesticated animals. It's not normal for it to attack. And it follows Rav Elazar that you could domesticate a lion. Yihachi, wait, if you tell me it's talking about a domesticated animal, domesticated animals, then why are you mentioning that it's abnormal to rip apart its prey? It's abnormal to attack. Just say attacking is abnormal. The answer is Shmuel was the one who made a distinction between eating alive and tearing apart its prey. It can't be that Shmuel was referring to a domesticated lion, because if it's a domesticated lion, there would be no distinction. Rather, when he said that it's talking about a domesticated lion, it was not talking about Shmuel, he was talking about the Mishnah. Meaning, when the Brisa said that if a lion enters Rishus HaNizik and tears apart an animal, you're chayiv nezik shalem, that he was saying that was referring to a domesticated lion and it's abnormal. So wait a minute, if it's abnormal, that's Karen. So why is it that you're chayiv nezik shalem, you should be chayiv chatzi nezik? The answer is, well, it is abnormal, but it's done it 4 times, so it's Karen, but it's muad. My Gabi told the Shane Gabi told the Karen. The problem is that Mishnah was talking about Shane, so now you're telling me it's Karen. So why is it in the Mishnah? Kasha, it's a good kasha.
In progress.
The Mishnah says ma being tam lamuad. What's the difference between a tam and a muad? Tam mishalim chatzi nezek megufa. We know that tam pays chatzi nezek and its cap. There's a cap. Muad mishalim nezek shalom and aliyah, and a muad pays full nezek and there is no cap. My aliyah, what does it mean that it pays min aliyah? Rav Elazar b'ma'ula she'menachasim. You pay with the best of your nechasim. Okay, meaning you give the highest quality payment. V'chein oimer, how do I know the word aliyah means the best? V'yishkav Chizkiya ma'avosav. Chizkiya passed away and was buried. B'malei kivres b'nei David. He was buried b'malei, in the best of the kvarim of David. Rav Elazar b'malei eitz ma'ulim shemishpacha. He was buried with the choicest of his family members, Ma'iniu, David, and Shlomo. So you see, mala means the best. Okay, let's go a little weiter. But now that we mentioned this pasuk and Rav Elazar, we're going to have a different pasuk about the kfura. V'yikbru b'kvroisav ashakar le'bi'ir David v'yeshkiveu b'mishpar hashemili b'samim v'zanim. The pasuk says they buried King Asa in the kvarim that he dug out for himself in the city of David. V'yashkivu b'mishkav, they laid him down in the resting place. Hashemili b'samim v'zanim, and they filled it with b'samim and zinim. Ma zinim, my b'samim v'zinim. Rav Elazar is zine zinim. Zinim is just different types of perfume. So they buried him in besamim and more perfume. Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar besam shekol meriach behen balu de zima. It means such great perfume that if you smell it, you want to do znus. Okay. Fine. The Gemara now continues another drasha. Ki karu shucha l'chdeni upachim tamnu l'ragle. Yirmiyah said, they dug a pit to trap me, and they hid snares for my feet. Rav Elazar says that he was complaining. Yirmiyah was lamenting the fact that the Klal Yisrael was accused him of living with a zayna. He says they accused him of living with a married woman because Yirmiyah is separated from his wife because of nevuah. They accused him of either living with a married woman or zayna. Terrible. If you say that they accuse him of living with a zayna, the pasuk says for a zayna is a deep pit. He says that they dug a pit for me, and a pit is a reference to a zayna. But if you say that he was being accused of living with a married woman, my shucha, then what's the pit? The answer is atu eshes minafka michal zayna. Eshes ish is definitely a zayna as well, meaning a zayna is a prostitute, but eshes ish is also halachically a zayna. So if a zayna means a pit, then eshes ish is also definitely a pit. The Gemara says, if you say that they accuse him of living with a married woman, which the penalty is death, this is what the pasuk says in another area. Yirmiyah was lamenting the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he said, Klal Yisrael wanted to kill me. So if then it makes sense. If they're accusing him of living with a married woman, then that's chayiv misa. So he's saying they're trying to kill me. But if you say that they accuse him of living with a zayna, living with a zayna is not the death penalty. My lamavis. The answer is The answer is this was referencing a different story. This was the them trying to kill him was not referencing this at all. There was a different story that they lowered him into a pit to try to kill him because he kept on saying that the Beis Hamikdash is going to be destroyed and they didn't want to hear it. So it's, according to this, it's 2 different meisim. Darish Rava, Ma'idich Siv, what does it mean in the pasuk? You muchshal lefanecha beis abcha aseh behem. The pasuk says, the pasuk in Yirmiyah, that they should be stumbled, that Klal Yisrael should stumble. In your time of anger, they should stumble. What does this mean? Even when they do ma'asim of tzedakah, even when they give tzedakah, make sure that they give tzedakah to bad people, so that it's not a mitzvah. So they won't be able to mekabel schar. This is referencing to the people who tried to kill Yirmiyah. Yirmiyah daven that even when they give tzedakah, they shouldn't have protection. How so? That they should make it that when they planning on giving tzedakah, they'll give it to bad. The people will be fakers, so it won't be a big mitzvah, and then they won't be mekayim the mitzvah, and it won't protect them.